Hey everyone, it's Helen from SMB Deal Hunter. Today we're going to talk with Will here about a deal he recently closed just a month ago through the Pro program. And it took Will 8 months from starting to work with us to close, and he financed the majority of the deal with an SBA loan. And fun fact, the business Will bought is actually in Hawaii, where he's originally from, but we'll dive into that a little bit later. So today we're going to touch on what Will was doing before he bought this business, some of the challenges of the search, and also how post-acquisition life has been the first month. So let's dive right in. I guess, Will, first, thank you so much for joining at 7 a.m. HST. So first off, I guess, tell us about what you were doing before jumping into business buying and kind of what prompted you to get into this space.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. Um, well, right before this, I was working in tech. I was a data analyst, and I worked at like Macy's, Sephora, Intuit, and all those other places in the Bay Area. It's just that math was never really my strong suit. I just I kind of got into it because I was a like a kindergarten teacher before, and
Oh, wow.
you don't really get paid much. So I'm like, what can I do just to like make money fast, And so I just kind of you know got into tech without really after doing that for 7 years, I'm like, I don't really like this. And that was when AI was kind of kicking in and stuff too. And I was thinking, this could probably replace me in a few years. So that's what really prompted me to kind of look for like an exit strategy and kind of you know, f- find a business just to kind of, that won't be replaceable as easily. And I thought this flower, arranging business in Maui was a good fit.
I guess before even diving into sort of business buying, you could have done a bunch of different things. Maybe what prompted you to get into acquisitions?
That's a good question. My family always, they always own businesses like for the past 3 generations. And I don't know, it's just something about, like, I guess, watching my dad too, who I guess have a business, kind of made me think maybe I should own a business too. So
Yeah.
I just thought, like, the thought of working for someone else, knowing that my labor is making them profit more. I don't know, just kind of thought it irked me a little bit, no matter what I was doing. So I thought maybe it's time for me to also have a system that generates money for me.
And did you always know you wanted to buy a business in Hawaii, or what was
Uh,
kind of the thinking behind that?
I guess I just wanted to kind of come back somehow. It's just, the Hawaii job market is well, it's limited, and it doesn't really pay as much while the living, I guess, cost of living is really expensive here too, almost like the Bay Area. And yeah, I think the only way you can really live here is if you have your own business or you're just really wealthy.
No, I think that's so true. Well, I'm curious. So before joining us, how long had you been sort of trying to buy business on your own or searching on your own, and what kind of progress have you made?
I was kind of just looking up on like Biz by Sell by myself for about 2 months or so, just reaching out, but I just had no idea about the whole process, like what an LOI is or anything really, what to really look out for. And I quickly realized, I need help. Uh,
Yeah.
I tried to do it. I thought, I'm used to teaching things to myself, and I thought I could hack it. But I thought, with so much like money involved and stuff, like I probably need some guidance. And I found SMB Deal Hunters on Instagram. So I just kind of was like, oh, what the heck? I'll just check it out. But I mean, it was the real deal, and it was really helpful and kind of like narrowing down my search criteria. And it was, yeah, highly recommended.
No, I'm glad to hear it. I'm curious what kind of, as you were sort of thinking about, maybe finding guidance, as you mentioned, what was the main reason you chose to sort of join us? And maybe what was going through your head as you're making that decision to join, and maybe some of the things that were holding you back? Can you just talk about that a little bit?
Sure. When I was looking, I wasn't working full time at that stage. So I had limited, finances, and I was just kind of doing the math myself, thinking I could maybe struggle and kind of try to find a business myself, and thought maybe I'll give myself a year or something before, because I'm just kind of using my savings just to live. But at the same time, I need that money to fund the acquisition for my, injection too. So there was that kind of a time restraint too. So I thought, if I went with you guys, it probably will be, within the year, probably faster, which I think, it did end up being faster. So even though there was an upfront cost, in terms of my investment to work with you guys, ultimately, I think it saved me more time, which equals money, So I think it was a good investment on my end, I think.
No, that's great. And tell us sort of maybe some of the most valuable things you got out of working together and out of the program.
I think for me, the most valuable thing from the program was just how I could just reach out to any of the advisors just through Slack. And you guys respond like so quickly within a few hours, usually, not even like a whole next business day thing. So, yeah, it was really nice. If I just, any question really with about the LOI, due diligence, whatever, and you guys were just so friendly and open about just, sharing your knowledge. And, it's been that part, just kind of like a sounding board was nice. Second thing that I liked was how you guys have a network of CPA, no, not CPAs, I'm sorry, just accountants and lawyers who can, do due diligence, and you guys can, recommend people. So that was useful. That saved me a lot of time kind of reaching out to those people, independently to do my due diligence. So that was nice too.
Anything else sort of that you found to be helpful out of the program that we haven't covered yet?
Hmm. I think the community is good too. There are a lot of people who are in the same boat as you are. And, this can be a lonely process. You know, like I know I'm sharing a win, but there are a lot of like failures too, right? And a lot of deals that don't go through. I think I looked at three businesses before landing on this one. And, it didn't work out for like a lot of reasons or whatever. But those things are like stories you don't hear or people don't share. But on the Slack group, we kind of openly share what didn't work for us this time, or just kind of sharing red flags for each other. So that kind of community aspect is, I think, a real plus.
Yeah, no, totally. Tell us about some of the challenges that you actually faced during the process. I guess
Right.
both, I guess
Mhm.
primarily pre-close, but also maybe post-close.
Sure. I'll share like a fun story, I guess. One of the first businesses I looked at was this, it's called Valpak. It's like a franchise where they send direct mail advertising. And um, the franchise in Hawaii, actually, when I was talking to the guy who owned it, was my high school roommate's dad.
I remember this.
Yeah, I was like, what a small world. And, he's not from Hawaii. He's from like Canada originally. I'm like, what are the odds of running into him here? And things went really like smoothly at first. We had a great rapport and stuff, but then the deal didn't really work out in the end because his broker was a real kind of I guess he was really difficult to work with, let's just say. And he kind of like soured the whole deal. And I guess, I'm kind of, I guess glad knowing that. I mean, I guess direct mail is kind of on the way out anyway, too. Or, I mean, they don't think so, but I mean, it's just, so anyways, that didn't work out. But, that was a big kind of a disappointment at first because I thought, oh, this what a serendipitous kind of thing, like maybe it was meant to be kind of thing.
Yeah.
Uh, and when it didn't work out, I was a bit bummed. But just working with you guys constantly feed me deals. and with the criteria with the search engine too, it's like I was only down like for maybe like 3 days or 2 days, and then I'm like, all right, whatever, let's pick right back up and keep on searching. And I mean, so yeah, there are ups and downs like that. So that was, I guess, a pre-acquisition. Post-acquisition, um, just learning just like business fundamentals. So it has been there's so much to learn. I guess you're wearing so many hats. Um, I'm learning how to like delegate or kind of buy services like bookkeeping and things like that, so I don't have to waste so much time. I think that's one thing that I'm trying to be better at. Like, you have limited hours in your day. What's the most impactful thing you can do, you know? So,
That's completely right. And well, I guess let's talk about the business you acquired. Tell us about the deal, what you liked about it, maybe some high level deal terms. Love to learn more.
all right, sure. High level deal terms. The business grossed about just over $1 million last year, which is pretty amazing for a flower shop.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like much compared to like what other people say on, your programs, like 5 mil, 10 mil, whatever. But I think for my first business, I didn't want it to go too big. I think just over 1 million is good enough for me just for now, like just baby steps. Um, and the margins are pretty good. It netted over like I think just over 400K after all expenses, so it's not too bad. And
Yeah.
um, I injected 10%, and the owner has 5% owner, like I guess, equity for 3 years, and then we made a deal to buy him out after three. But we have like my wife and I has like 95% ownership, and the SBA funded about 95% of it, I think. So I'm sorry, no, 90%, I should say. Yeah, so
And
uh,
tell us about the actual flower shop. What did you like about it? And what kind of jumped out at you? Obviously, the fact that it was in Hawaii was great too.
mhm. Yeah, it's good to be back home, but finally finding a way to come back. The flower shop has been in existence since 1982, and the former owner is from Maui. He's like third generation here, and everybody knows him. Everybody knows the shop. It's really part of the community here because, it's one of the oldest shops here, and it's a small place. So, yeah, Asa is the guy. The store is called Asa Flowers, named after him, and um, he's been in New York as a designer for so many years, like for a very long time. And flowers are his passion, his life. And like I'm not as experienced as he is. In fact, I don't have much experience at all. Maybe I know like a few ikebana, but nothing commercial, right? And just him staying on indefinitely. Like I know, I mean, it's just his passion in his life. So he said he's gonna be like an annoying uncle I can't get rid of, which is
No, and
perfect.
yeah, no, I mean, how has it been sort of buying a business where it's named after someone else, maybe it's his sort of his, I guess,
It's
legacy.
baby, yeah,
It's his
right.
baby. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. How's it been sort of transitioning from that?
Overall, it's going really smoothly. There were a lot of things that were a bit inefficient, like a lot of his systems were pen and paper files. So I'm kind of updating, making things faster, more like I guess efficient, smoother, and cheaper too. So that's been a real plus. And he liked the fact that someone young is coming in to kind of modernize his systems because he doesn't know how, right? He only knows the flower aspect. So it's kind of been a mutual kind of learning thing. So I help him with his business side of things, the systems, and he teaches me how to, actually do commercial flower arrangement, which has been a real eye-opening experience.
Yeah, and tell us more about that. Who are the clients? What is the focus of the business? Because it's not just a regular flower shop that's, retail. So
Right. Yeah. So in a retail shop, you're lucky if you do maybe, I don't know, like $1,000 a day worth of arrangements of just someone walking in, right? But for us, we service a lot of like resorts in Maui. And we not only do like weddings or corporate events, but we do all the weekly change outs in the resorts. That's a recurring, revenue right there. And we also do Christmas decor for all the um, hotels. And we kind of like straddle this kind of interesting space where it's not really just all wedding and event florals, but it's more like just big decor and events in general. So in Maui, I think one of the biggest competitive advantages this shop has, which drew me to purchasing this business, was you can't just order things on Amazon and expect it to come in like 2, 3 days.
right.
It takes, at least a week and a half. Expect the bigger your order, maybe longer, maybe a month. So Asa has been building up this huge inventory of vases, containers, Christmas decor. Um, so everything's been front loaded. So, and then we can continuously reuse this, and that generates, revenue for us. And a lot of these flower shops here don't just cannot match our inventory. And that's been a real plus because we recently did this event where I think the floral budget was about 350K, which has been the
Wow.
biggest one ASA has done either too, right? And um, other places placed bids for it and whatnot, but they just cannot accommodate the scale.
That's so
So
interesting. That's
yeah,
fantastic. And
yeah.
no, that's great. And after taking over the business, have you sort of seen additional? You already mentioned some opportunities to streamline things, putting better systems in place. Have you seen any opportunities on the growth side that you're now excited about now that you're kind of a month in?
Yeah, so ASA hasn't been doing any marketing in terms of like just I mean, nothing. He just like, since they're like, it's mostly B2B, so all the vendors, like the hotels and the event planners, know us and trust us, especially since even though the owner switched, Ace is still sticking around.
Right.
So, I mean, business has been coming in, so Asa never really had to advertise. Uh, so there are some smaller, like upstart companies there that have been kind of taking away some market share in terms of the smaller weddings. So I think my next step would be doing more, I guess, SEO, like paid search kind of marketing, so that when brides come to look at just Googling like, wedding florists in Maui or whatever, that we start showing up because Asa didn't really care about that. So hopefully, that's an area of growth I'm very interested in and kind of in competing in.
No, it's super interesting. And I guess, I haven't asked it, but how does it feel finally, being a business owner and being on the other side?
Uh, it's a little scary sometimes.
Yeah, I bet.
Um, yeah. But like everybody has been so nice here. Like because of this business is a bit seasonal right now. It's a bit slow because everybody's on vacation, and um, it starts picking up in September all the way through January, and we're gonna be a bit slow maybe January, February, and then springtime to like March to maybe May. It starts picking up again. So we have lulls and booms and stuff, and the staff has been so flexible, saying, "Oh yeah, just feel free to just cut my hours. It's okay."
Wow.
You know, um, yeah. So they've been really, understanding, and everybody's like all local here too. So they know they're like seasoned kind of veterans who've been with ASA for a long time, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this happens. Like ASA cuts our hours all the time too, and increases it when we're busy. So like go for it." Like so, it's been pretty cool. That support has been a very welcome change. It hasn't, I thought they might have a lot of loyalty to Asa and kind of being like, who's this new guy who doesn't know anything? But no, everybody's been really helpful. and they've been teaching us a lot. Yeah, so it's pretty exciting stuff overall.
And how has business been? Has it been as expected in terms of, how the business was doing, pre-acquisition?
Yeah, so in 23 there was a Lahaina fire, right?
Yes.
And that kind of dampened business. But it's been recovering last year, and this year's been pretty good too. Um, Yesterday there was that tsunami warning, so I was a bit nervous about
Wow.
that. I thought maybe we couldn't do deliveries to resorts today, but I think it's gonna be okay. So I think, yeah, just in Hawaii, you're kind of under the mercy of nature, and the tourism, kind of, you're under that mercy too, right? Like, will tourists come? And with like, Trump and the tariffs too, I think tourism has been a bit down a little bit. So, well, we'll see. But I think this year we should finish strong. And oh, and one thing, speaking about the tariffs, I think we are in a really kind of advantageous position because 90% of our flowers are sourced locally.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah, because it's Hawaii, just like
Yeah.
throw some seeds or stick a branch in the ground, it's gonna grow, right?
Love that.
Yeah. So that's been nice. And a lot of like, I guess, outside, sometimes, the floral business, if our like clientels are kind of, in the upper crust of society, sometimes they are rich enough to bring their in-house like family florists. I didn't even know that was a thing, but they
Wow.
bring them here and then take over a studio and then, do an arrangement and fly back home with them on their jet or something, right? But then because space is so limited here, and then everybody, you just kind of need to know people here. So that's been kind of like keeping I guess us safe in a way. It's hard to compete here, I think. We kind of have like the barrier to entry is pretty good, I think.
No, that's super interesting. And I want to be sensitive of time, but last question from me is what would you tell someone right now, Will, who's maybe unsure about joining us, joining the program, thinking about it, but just haven't quite taken the leap?
Um, at first, I thought I wouldn't really care what industry or what business I acquired unless it's profitable. But I highly recommend going into a business where you at least have some sort of interest in working in. I'm very fortunate that it's with flowers, and even on a stressful day, like I'm surrounded by beauty. And
So true.
if I'm stressed with, doing numbers on the laptop, I can just step out and play with flowers, and it, brings me joy, right? It's like how lucky. So consider that as an equation, as a factor, right? If you're really into roofing and that's your passion, great, or whatever. But yeah, I think that should be an equate part of your equation.
That's great advice. And Will, thank you so much for your time today. Super, super excited. I know you're just 1 month in, but hopefully I get to visit at some point. I go to Hawaii sometimes, so excited to catch up and continue following along the journey. And thank you so much again.
Yeah, please give me a shout, Helen, if you ever come to Maui. And I guess if any of your followers, are interested in the flower industry, I'm happy to chat with anyone. So you guys been a great help, and I couldn't have done this without you. So thank you.